this month, WDSU News remembers the lives lost and acknowledges the lives changed forever by Hurricane Katrina. As we near the 10th anniversary of that historic storm, we note not all of those lives are human. Animals in the wild at the Audubon Zoo and tens of thousands of our pets were left behind, either dying in the extreme conditions or homeless after Hurricane Katrina unleashed her fury on the Gulf Coast.
It was very intense. I mean, people, the animal control officers, the kennel workers, people were just working around the clock to save animals.
It is unknown the exact number of animals that died, but the Louisiana SPCA estimates that of the 15,000 animals rescued after the storm, only about 15 or 20% were ever reunited with their owners. But there are stories of survival. While the lives of these animals would be forever changed, one dog is now doing what he can to give back and change the lives of others, starting with his adoptive mom.
WDSU anchor Randy Russo shares his story and how the storm transformed the way pet owners see their animals 10 years later.
From a shaggy tail to wide grin and poised demeanor, Chaz here is certainly a charmer.
Yes, he's a good boy.
However, life wasn't always so good to this chow mix. 10 years ago, Chaz was found frightened and alone, wandering the streets of the West Bank in the months following Hurricane Katrina.
He was so frightened he had to be double polled.
Chaz had no tags, no microchip, no ID, and was brought to a makeshift shelter in Algiers. He was so scared he had to be put in a rehab tent to get him acclimated to people again.
Initially, we would just sit in the area outside the kennels and just read things like the newspaper or a book aloud so that they could get accustomed to the sound of human voices again.
Helen Hester began volunteering for the LASPCA around the same time Chaz was found. As a self-proclaimed cat lady, Hester never had a dog before, but it was during her attempts to find Chaz a home she discovered a newfound love.
After a while, I realized that his real family had found him, and it was me.
As Hester found a new partner, other pet owners like David Webster struggled to find their animals after the storm. He was forced to leave his 2 dogs behind the week after Katrina hit and frantically searched for them once he reached higher ground.
I volunteered at the shelter, and people come in and lost their dog or cat, and you don't realize what it's like until you're in that position.
He was able to track Troubles and Taz at the Lamar Dixon Center in Gonzales, where so many animals ended up after the storm. Webster admits he was not prepared for a hurricane of that magnitude and that the experience has changed his game plan.
So now I have a car, so if the situation ever arises like it did during Gustav, I just packed him in the car and we took off. Because I said, I'm not going to take a chance.
The hurricane was an eye-opener for Hester as well.
It made me really realize that we're all responsible for each other, including these guys.
And Chaz takes that same notion to heart. He's spent the past 10 years giving back, visiting the elderly in hospitals and nursing homes, and helping young children develop the confidence to read aloud as part of the Reading Rover program. He's even raised money for other furry friends in need.
He raised a couple of $100 to help this other dog who was a foster and a friend of his. He was one of the lucky ones, so he gives back too.
And even though he's still afraid of lightning and thunder,
if I find him coming out from under the futon, I know he had a rough day.
Hurricane Katrina gave Chaz a second chance at a better life, to rise from the hardships and leave his paw print on the Crescent City. On your side, I'm Randy Russo, WDSU News.
One study presented to Congress estimated an incredible 600,000 pets were killed or left without shelter because many people weren't allowed to take their pets with them. Whether they were being rescued by boat or air or going to shelters, many pet owners were heartbroken at the thought of having to leave their animals behind. But out of these images and the stories of abandoned pets, legislation was born to protect animals during storms. In 2006, the Pets Evacuation and Transportation Standards Act was signed into law, ensuring that pets are included in state and local emergency preparedness plans in the event of a natural disaster or emergency. It also authorizes the federal agencies to call for people and their pets if they are rescued or need help.